Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Now, what you're used to from me, right, is tactical, practical solutions, strategies for the things that might be plaguing you within the realms of time management, productivity, stress reduction, and these types of things. And that stuff is super, super important, right? That tactical, practical, the things that we can implement today, really important. And also, there are a number of mindsets that I see showing up, again and again when I work with clients, when I work with students, that might be delaying some progress or even delaying getting started on some things. And so I want to share these with you, just in the guise of self-awareness, right? If there's something that you're seeing here in yourself, then there might be a way to think about, a different mindset that you could adopt. And I think that the really great thing about problematic mindsets, right, is that we can change them. We can change them if we're aware of them, and if we can, get some help to see some things in a different way, we can start to change the way that we actually think about things. So what are these three mindsets? I'm going to go into each one of them. The first one is an all or nothing mindset. So let me tell me if you have had this situation happen to you before. You're like, okay, I'm going to be eating really healthy, right? Going to eat really healthy today. And then, you go to some sort of an event and there's pizza and you have a slice of pizza and you're like, well, I mean, I already messed up, so I might as well just, eat 10 more pieces of pizza, right? This all or nothing thinking. Or maybe you are like, well, I was trying to exercise today, but I don't have 90 minutes to get to the gym, so I guess I can't exercise today, right? Or maybe you have a big project that you need to get started on, but you are saying to yourself, well, it's going to take about 3-4 hours to do this project, and I don't have that time today, so I guess I can't get started. Has this ever happened to you? Have you had any of those thoughts going through your mind? This is now or never thinking. And when we do this to ourselves, it is problematic because we're not seeing the nuance and the gradation here, right? And so we kind of set ourselves back when when we say, well, you know what, I can't do this, and so I can't do anything, right? Or I did this, so I have to do everything. So what if we think about those situations differently? What if we say, you know what, I was trying to eat healthy and I did have a piece of pizza, and that's okay, right? Maybe you just stop there, or maybe you have one more, and that's reasonable. Or what if you are, you're trying to exercise and you say, well, I don't have 90 minutes to go to the gym, but what if I could go for a walk or a run, just 20 minutes right outside my house? Do I have time for that, right? Or, with this big project that you don't have 4 hours for today, could you just get started? What if you worked on it for an hour? What if you worked on it for 20 minutes? What if you even worked on it for 10 minutes? In all of these situations, these alternatives that I've suggested here, you're going to feel better because you're in a better place where you actually did something, instead of thinking of it as, well, I screwed it up and so I can't do it at all, or I don't have time so I can't do it at all. So when we move from kind of all or nothing into more granular, more nuanced thoughts for ourselves, we're actually able to give ourselves more compassion and more grace, and we get more stuff done, right? We get more of the stuff that's important done. So that's mindset number one, all or nothing. Now, the next mindset that we want to think about is now or never. And so this comes up so often when I'm working with people. It's like, if it's not top of mind, like if it's not happening right this second, it's never going to happen, right? It's just going to be lost to the abyss. And so I just have to do it right now. Otherwise, it will never happen. And we get stuck in this. I hear people say this, I better do it right now, otherwise it's never going to happen. Assuming that, what's going to happen in the future, who knows, right? And this kind of thinking can be really problematic because it's really stressful. You're not going to get everything done today, right? And so lots of people, when I start working with them, they come in with a planning horizon of maybe like one day, max two. So like everything on their task list is like today or tomorrow, maybe, or maybe next week, right? But that's it. And there's hundreds of things on there, and somehow you're just expecting yourself to get it all done. It's not reasonable. You're setting yourself up for failure because you can't do all those things. You can actually only do one thing right now, right? But luckily, life is just a succession of nows. And so when we recognize that, when we accept the fact that we're not going to do it all today, we're not going to do it all right now, and that we have to make some choices, then we're able to expand that planning horizon so that you can let go of that anxiety of the now or the never, knowing that you have a system, you have a plan in place to handle the things that you can't handle right now and that you shouldn't handle right now because, maybe they're not the top priority. So now or never, that is the second mindset that often shows up. And then the third mindset that often shows up and really can, be a hindrance to folks is regarding perfection. So I call this the perfect or not worth it mindset, right? So it's like, I can't do it perfectly. And so I'm just not going to do it all. Or the perfection really gets in the way and leads to procrastination. So because you're worried about doing it perfectly, you don't start at all. And then all of a sudden, you need to do it at the very last moment because you've delayed, because you were kind of seeking perfection in the back of your mind, knowing it's not really possible, and therefore delaying just getting started. But here's the thing. Perfect. It's not real. It's not a thing you can achieve. I can't achieve it. Nobody can achieve it. And so when you're seeking perfection, when you have this mindset of perfection, or it's just not worth doing it, then what happens is we really kind of fail ourselves because we're not going to be perfect. And so we are setting ourselves to these standards that don't even exist. And we're making ourselves feel bad. We're maybe not even enjoying things as much as we could because we're saying it's, unless I can do it perfectly, it's not worth doing it. And if you can't do anything perfectly, because again, perfect isn't real, then it's really easy to get demoralized really fast. And it's also really easy to not start things, right? To not try things because you're worried about how well you're going to be able to do them. So, I mean, the fact that perfection is a fallacy, this is not new. I mean, some of my favorite adages are things like, done is better than perfect, or don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is not a new concept, but it's still something that plagues so many people. So many high achievers fall into this trap of perfection. And when we can bring that back and say, hey, perfection, it's not real, it's not going to happen, but excellence is something we can achieve, then that takes a lot of the pressure off. So if you are experiencing any of these mindsets, so whether it's all or nothing, or now or never, or perfect or not worth it, I just want you to think about that, notice that, and ask yourself, like, is this serving me or is it not serving me very well, right? And the good news is, if it's not serving you very well, then you can change that thinking, right? And being aware of it, this is often the very first step to being able to change some of those thoughts, to have, thoughts and mindsets and thinking that actually supports you and your goals and puts a little less pressure on you and relieves some of that stress. Now, if you're still listening here right now, I do want to share with you that my program, Time Well Spent, Time Management for Real People, is open for enrollment right now. I only offer it twice a year. And so you can grab the link right down below if you're interested in exploring that. Now, in that program, we do all the tactical, practical stuff. Every single lesson is like super tactical and practical. And also, there is coaching that comes with that. And the coaching is something that can really help you get past some of these mindsets, change them into mindsets that really work for you. And so in this program, we do a combination of these two things, right? We make sure that we have all the tactical strategies to be able to make changes into our technology and in our lives and how to say no and all of that stuff. And also, we work on our own mindsets around how we think about what we do, how we think about the things that need to get done that we want to do, how we think about how we spend our time. Because the reality is, as woo as it sounds, like our thoughts actually do matter. They do change the way that we interact in the world and in our lives. So if that's something that you are looking to get a little more help with, then check out that link below and just see if that's something that might be a good next step for you.
Like she said, make sure to subscribe to the channel because only a small percentage of the people that will actually watch our videos are subscribed. So make sure and hit that subscribe button.